Hi, friends. So today I am so excited. I'm with two of my fave girls ever, Jordan and Brent, and we are just going to be doing a little sit down talk with us about college, how we're feeling about college, and all of the fun stuff that's about to come in the new season, because there's a lot of people who are going through the same season as us. And we just want to talk about some things we're excited about, some things we're nervous about, and just let you know that you're not alone. There's other people who are feeling the same things. So I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan. I'm going to Point Loma and I'm super excited but also super nervous and can't wait to just talk about some advice and like relate to on things because I know everyone is super nervous and so am I.
Yes. Hey guys, I'm Brensly. I'm going to Point Loma too with Jordan. And yeah, I'm excited also to talk about this. And even preparing for this, I calmed a lot of my fears and like nerves. So yeah, I think listening to this will help you guys too.
And if you see us on our phones, if you're watching the video, it's not because we're on our phones. It's because I have like notes written down and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just jump into it. I actually first want to just start off by reading a verse in Deuteronomy. It is Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 8. And it says, "The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged." And I just love this. And I was really thinking about like preparing for this, going to college, and we talked about some things that were similar in our nerves, and this verse really just calms a lot of those, that like God has gone before us and like he is with us no matter what, like through everything he's with us, and it's all gonna work out. So without further ado, let's get into what we're nervous about, some things we're nervous about.
Yeah, so starting off, just there's some nerves about meeting the right people and finding the right community and friends and things like that. And I just started thinking about like what the Bible kind of says a friend should be. And we've already done a video on this one, a podcast on this one, so go check that out if you're wondering.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it.
Yeah. Because that's super helpful to know like what to look for in a friend. And I don't know, I just felt like God was saying, be the friend you want to attract. If you want a friend who's loyal or someone who's trustworthy and kind and patient, then be that friend too to other people and you'll attract those people. So yeah, and initiating convos about faith and sharing your story too, I thought was just a good way to think of like how you can find friends. And yeah, so that's definitely one of my fears.
That's so good. And I think too, along with what you were just saying, like being authentic, because it can be really easy when you're in a place where you don't know many people to kind of, I don't put on this face or like this person that you aren't really. But if you're like your genuine self and you're authentic, like people who are also authentic and want to find genuine people will be attracted to you, and like God will like put the right people in your path. So just stay true to who you are, because when you're going to a new place, you're like, oh, like, will people like me, will they not? And also too, not everyone's gonna like you. I just had to come to terms with that. Like so not everyone is gonna be like I love that girl, she's so and that's fine. Like people have their own preferences. So yeah. That's what I was saying.
Okay, so one thing I'm nervous for is just, I said change, and just like so many things are changing. Like obviously you're not living at home anymore and you kind of have to navigate like being by yourself, and there's new people and just your faith. There might be some like obstacles in your faith too, because at least for me, like sometimes I doubt God and like what his plan is. So I think just like staying like firm in your beliefs and just trusting that God like has a plan is really important.
I love that. So good and so true. And yeah, so some other things relating to that, we talked about how like we're all kind of nervous about the unknown, in so many things, like unknown like we've never lived in those places before.
Yeah.
We've never like met those people as
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
school. Like we haven't gone to
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
There's so many unknowns, and it can be really like scary and nerve-wracking and going into that because I'm someone, I think we all are, but I'm someone who loves to know. Like have a plan. I like to plan for, I'm like, okay, like I have this class, I'm gonna get this binder for it.
Yeah.
And like when I'm going shopping, I'm like, I don't even know, do I need a binder? Which one? Like I don't really know. But just know that you're not alone. Like everyone's in the same boat, and like God is like with you. God understands. But also like Deuteronomy said, like He's gone before us. And I was thinking about this and thinking about how I'm like, okay, that's like comforting. Like God goes before us. But also some people have said, how does God know exactly what will happen? Sometimes because we have free will. So like we can choose. So sometimes we choose one thing or the other. So how does He know? And I was thinking, I was like, God probably knows like all the situations. Like every choice, like no matter what choice we make, He knows like the outcome of each one.
So true.
So like no matter what, like in the Bible tells us again and again, like He has plans for good and plans to prosper us and not harm us. Like we were talking about Jeremiah 29:11. And so just take heart in that too. Like it's all gonna be good, and like God is like with you through it all. So yeah, what about you, Brens? About the unknown and feeling like unprepared? How do you feel about that, and what do you think about that?
Yeah, so when I was thinking about the unknown too, I kind of thought of just being unprepared, like you said, and like it's normal to ask a question like, am I really prepared for this like new season of life? Like we just came out of high school and all of a sudden we're heading into this new unknown place, and like, am I ready for this and all these things? But I think just praying through that, and God prepares you, I think too, is super empowering. Like He gives you the tools you need when you go into that new season. And so God's going to give you all the tools you need when you're heading into that. And He knows your plan. He has a plan for you. And so, yeah, that was just something I thought was super encouraging. Like you said, all the verses too.
So good. I think prayer is so powerful. And I've talked about this so many times, but throughout this whole process, I've been praying. Praying for a roommate, praying for which college, praying for housing, praying for all of that. Like just prayer through it all, because God loves it when we come to Him and we're like, hey, and He loves to like hear our requests, and He loves to give us like our desires and our fears and stuff. So I have a fun question. What's like been one thing that you have kind of like looked at college that you're like, what's one thing in specific that you're like really nervous about, or like what's one thing in particular that like I don't know how this is gonna go, and I'm like interested to see how it goes when I'm there. If you have something.
I would say also like the friend thing, because I mean, obviously, at least for Point Loma, I'm sure Baylor too, but everyone there is like has some sort of like belief in God, I would like assume, because it's a Christian school. But like, so that to me, I'm like, okay, that's a little bit of reassurance, but at the same time, it's like there's just so many people, and like it just, I don't know, like me being like very like reserved, like not always like super outgoing, and I just don't know like how like I don't know, meet people. I guess just having to like trust God and just like stepping out of my comfort zone, which is just a little bit hard. So I think that's why I'm nervous. But I think like Brensly said, just like being intentional and like being the type of friend you want to be to others, and what Max said, like just being like true to yourself, because if you change like things about you, then you're not like your true self. And then people, like say for example, for the first day you're like put on a face, and then as weeks go by you like go back to your like normal self, people will be like, wait, what? Like they'll be confused, and like people gravitate towards like just like being yourself. Like when I first met Mac and Brens, like I was like, I don't know, I feel like I was different, but now I like have opened up, and like definitely opened up, and like just like I don't know, like started peeling back the layers, and like now I'm like my true self. So yeah.
I know people still. I'm like, I love Jordan Nolte, and they're like, Jordan's so quiet. I'm like, she's the loudest girl I know. No, not the loudest girl, but you are really loud, and I just love it. And you're so like comfortable. And I sometimes too, like for people, it takes a little bit more time to like figure out their true self and like see their true selves. And so another thing that God was teaching me, like going to the season, is to be patient. Because you're not gonna make friends like that. You're not gonna make besties like in the first day, first week. It takes time. Like with Brens and Jordan, both of them took a lot of time, and to like grow trust and like really knowing them. So also like when it gets hard, just know that God's in the hard times. That's when God is like preparing a really good thing for you. Like in the hard times of my life, or like when I'm waiting for friends or looking for friends or like a community, God's like creating the best community for me and like preparing me along the way to like step into that. So let's talk about faith. What are you guys nervous about for faith?
For faith
Faith-wise,
I was kind of thinking, in terms of faith, just keeping God at the center, and because I know I wrote on here, know your tendencies, and because some people, when they're super busy, they fall out of touch with God or fall out of their relationship with God, or I don't know, everyone just has different things that can kind of trigger you to push away from God, or like an unknown situation, change. That can be a lot of things for people, but I'd say just knowing your tendencies and giving that to God and saying like, I know this is how I get when change is around the corner and I'm scared, but I want to give it to you and, change me through it and like grow me closer to you, use it to grow me closer to you. So I'd say that was something I've been kind of thinking about. And yeah, just in the busy times too. Like even this summer, I'm sure we've all had busy weeks traveling,
sure.
all these things, all three of us. But I think God has grown me also in this season, just in the busyness, to find him and like really grow closer to him. And when you invite him into those spaces of like the fear and the things that usually push him away, he really does use those and can turn it around for you.
So good. Give this girl a mic. Oh wait, she has one. So good. I love that. Do you have anything to add, Jordan, or do you guys want to go into what's exciting or excited about?
What you said is good.
We another good note right there. Okay. So if you relate to these two, like awesome, because I feel like I was like, okay guys, write 3 things you're excited about, 3 things you're nervous about, let's come talk about it. We didn't even tell each other what we wrote down, but there's so many similarities to it, and I think like everyone's in the same boat, and that's what's also comforting, like knowing that not everyone also too in college for freshman year like has all friends, all their friends, so like everyone wants to meet people, they're open to it.
That's true.
And yeah, so excited. Let's let Jordan start. What is something you're excited about, Jordan?
Okay, I said growing my relationship with God and just experiencing him from another perspective, and just like being away from home and kind of having like an independence in my faith, because I feel like coming from a very like faith-based family, like they're always the ones pushing me in my faith, which is good, but like sometimes you just have to do it for yourself and do it because you want to do it. And so yeah, I'm excited to like go to church, like, and sit by the beach and spend time with God and just see what he does, because I think the last year, like seeing how much he worked in my life, like it really grew our relationship, because it just allowed me to see like how faithful he is and how he like comes through every time. And
Amen.
yes. And yeah, so I'm just excited to see how our relationship grows.
So good. And I was gonna say to that, when you said you're excited to like you really dive into your faith for yourself, like fully.
Yeah.
I've heard of a statistic. I think Caleb's talked about it in Rock, how like so many Christians go to college and like abandon their faith. And like it's a huge number. It's a huge statistic, and it's crazy. And so that's why too, like God was telling me like you need to be intentional about spending time with me. Just like when you like call your family back at home to like catch up with them, you got to be intentional with spending time with him. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think being intentional is so important,
Mm.
and it's important to think about that ahead of time,
Mhm.
especially because when we get there, I think we're going to get hit with
Yeah.
things from left and right.
Yeah.
Like, we're the new freshmen, we have new classes, new
Mhm.
accountability, new responsibilities, new everything. And yeah, so just being intentional, and just something that excites me is kind of taking it a different way, but like going to church with new friends, also bringing new friends to church, and like even Jordan and I have talked about this already, but like experiencing a different kind of like worship and how people experience God too. Like, it's gonna grow us all so much, and I already know that. And so I'm just so excited to go through new seasons, like Jordan said, with new people, and we're just gonna learn so much and grow in our faith so much. I already know. So that's what I'm excited for.
So good. Yeah. No, along with all of this, I think we were talking, the overarching thing is how, as we're going into the new chapter, having independence and growing in our faith and seeing what God has for us. That was one thing I wrote. It's like similar to all of this, like seeing what God has for me, because I was talking about that before, but I heard someone say this and it was so profound. No credit towards me, it was someone else. I did not come up with this. They said following God isn't like walking in a dark room with a flashlight where we get to see like the like multiple steps ahead and see like the future. No, it's walking with like a lamp. We see like we just see each step by step we follow God, and like he leads the way. Like he's the lamp in our life. He's not like the flashlight, like, oh, this is where you're gonna end up. Because if we saw where we ended up in the future, we'd be like kind of like nervous how to get there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have to, like, what do I have to do to get there? So it's actually nice. It's like a blessing that we just go step by step. So just being obedient with his plan and walking with him every day, he will get us to like the place and to the things and people that he wants us to.
It's good.
And I'm just so excited to see, and I'm so excited to go to Texas, somewhere different. I love
Texas girl.
with these were the girls that came to Texas. We all went to Texas. Throwback to when we went to Passion. It was so much fun. My roots, my new roots. Yeah, but I just like too, for me, like the churches around Baylor are just so cool. And so I'm just excited to like go to those and see them and all that fun stuff, and meeting just like people from all around, because Baylor is central. So there's a lot of people from all around and all the states. But I feel like with college, I keep saying this, it's like bittersweet.
Yeah.
Like you're so excited, but also you're like sad to like leave what's behind.
Yeah. There's so many different emotions going on. There's like 1,000 things. Yeah.
But I just know that like God has like great plans for you girls, and it's not gonna be easy too. That's too what I have to prepare myself for. It's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be a lot of patience, a lot of trusting in God, but like if we're rooted, God's gonna like use it all for good. So I just love that. And to end it off, let's just say one way God has been faithful in the past, just to remind us of how he's going to be faithful in the future. Who wants to start?
You start.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought of the question, but okay, so many things. Just one. Wow, you really did Uno reverse card. I would say, okay, I have one. I would say transferring schools. For me, it was something I never thought I would do for high schools. If you don't know, I transferred my junior year. And looking back, it was such a God thing. I never even thought of it. And then I went to a church camp, and God spoke through someone and said, you seem like you seem like your SRV personality. So I was like, never heard that one before, but okay. And then Brens and Lynn's, they went to SRV, and they were like my besties at the time. And well, they still are my besties. But they still are my besties. But like at that time too, especially like they were like the people I would hang out with during COVID and stuff. Like, we would hang out. We would go on our like little picnics outside. Yeah, don't arrest us. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, and so we would like hang out and they would say, Mac, like I wish you went to SRV. And I would be like, oh, I wish I went to, like, just say it back, you know, because I'm not gonna say like no. I just thought it wasn't in the cards. And I just remember like something prompting me. Now I know it was God saying, like, go ask your mom
Yeah.
if you can transfer. And I didn't want to really, because I was like, I know she's gonna say no. I walk up to her, I'm like, Mom, like, I kind of want to transfer schools to SRV. Automatically she said yes and said, like, let's look into it. And I feel like that was just, it was step after step, like God being faithful and being like, this is what I have for you, and you wouldn't have chose it on your own. And after I transferred to SRV, like, so many things happened in terms of just like growing my faith and being in community. Like, me and Brensly started the Instagram. I met Jordan, like, so many things, and God grew me in like community like the most, and like through my cross country team and all the amazing girls through that. So I think just trusting in his plan and like not having to know everything, because I expected to graduate at Monte Vista. Never, if I told myself as a freshman you'd be graduating at SRV, I'd be like, that's not me. Like, that's like my clone. Like, is there someone who looks like me? And so that's the like, again, the blessing of not knowing our future, because like God has such a great plan, and we wouldn't have chosen it if we knew that, you know, and maybe it wouldn't have happened. So I think that like he like brings you to things he is gonna equip you with, and the best places. So
I can add on to that a little bit. But just like,
is yours when I transferred to this?
hey, you guys did. But I was actually gonna say, with that though, I think it's cool to see how God works, because like looking back now, I'm like, if you wouldn't have transferred, I wouldn't be where I am now. We wouldn't have our Instagram.
Yeah.
We wouldn't, my faith wouldn't be where it is now. So it's just cool seeing God's plan and how it all kind of connects.
Yeah.
So I'd say I'm super grateful for the way he's spoken to your life too. And yeah, that's just such a God thing, obviously. Clearly. What else could it be?
Yeah.
And okay, so what was the question again?
Like, what's one way God's been faithful in the past that you can remember in times that he'll be faithful again in the season?
I think there's been a lot of small moments. Well, not small, but just been a lot of moments. But I think God's faithfulness to forgive me in my faith journey and kind of accept me back, pull me back in, because we all stumble. And I think that's just been huge. And it's a reminder too to anyone who feels like they can't run back to God, or they can't, go back to him when things get hard. But he always accepts you with open arms and gives you new ways of looking at faith. And even I asked for prayer from you too, just like for a new realization in faith too, or just a new way of looking at it. And I think he's working on me in that. And so I think that's been a big one. And friends too, I was gonna say. He's led me to the right people. And this past year I was kind of discouraged a little bit, I'd say, just my senior year. And I was kind of just asking God, like, can you bring me the friends that will grow me? And just asking for that over and over. And it's the like last few weeks I'm here, and I just look around, I'm like, I am surrounded by such great people, you too, obviously, and he's led me to you both and so many other great Christian people who've grown me. And so I think that's just been super reassuring going into college too. Like, God can do that. He can bring anyone into your life. Oh, girl. And don't make me cry. And
bro.
and yeah, so yeah, that's that. Passing to Jordan.
Aw. I would say definitely kind of like Mac. Like moving schools was like super hard for me. Like, I used to live in San Jose, and I went to the school as like K through 12, so I went there for my entire life. And I'd like grown up with all these people, and like they were like my best friends, like all this stuff, and like moving was just really hard for me. So just trusting God in that was really, really hard. And to make it worse, like I moved during COVID. So it was like so hard to like meet people, and I was just like really doubting God, like wondering like what was gonna happen and everything. And then I came to SRV and like did my junior year, and it just like wasn't good. Like my anxiety was just really bad, so like just went through like a really hard season with God, because I was like, God, like where you at?
I'm waiting.
I'm waiting. But yeah, and just like I remember like this time last year I was like about to start school again, and like super super nervous, and just like to look back on this year and see how much like God has done, and like the people that he's put in my life, it's just been like so like cool to watch. And yeah, I think I'm honestly thankful for it, because like especially for going to college, it's like I can see like what he's done and like how far he's brought me, and it just gives me such like hope for the future. And yeah, yeah.
So good. Okay, so our last thoughts, not my last thoughts, our last thoughts for this, I would say, just hearing everything we're saying, is just pray, like prayer, and like present your request to God, and He cares for them. And so, if you're nervous about friends, community, being independent, living on your own, anything, just pray about it, and like God is with you, and just remembering like God loves you so much, and He's not going to leave you in a place. Like every season He uses, and it's gonna be amazing. Like I just know it's gonna be great for everyone, and like everyone goes through different seasons, but God's gonna use it in like such great ways. So what would your last?
Yes. My last points. Oh my gosh. No, I'm just so excited, and there's a lot of unknowns, which is scary, but there's so many good things to come. And I love that you asked that question about like ways we've seen him move before, because I feel like it all teaches us so much, like you moving schools and all the things. It's just like God's proven time and time again, like he comes through every single time. And even when you don't think he will, like he does in his timing, and it's perfect. So that's super cool. I don't know.
Amen. Jordan?
Yes, I would agree. I think just like trusting God, I think that's a like one thing for me, because he just is so good, and like just seeing like what he does in your life, just even like the little things, like can just give you so much hope. And I think trusting God is a lot easier. Well, no, it's a lot harder than not trusting him, but it's a lot better in the long run, because if you trust him, you're just like strengthening your relationship at the same time, because when you have like doubts with God, it kind of puts like a little dent, because you're not like trusting that he will like provide. So I think trusting God.
I love that.
And we are just so grateful for you guys. I'm so grateful for these gals. I've had them on before in the podcast. I forgot to say that. So they're familiar faces or voices if you listen on Spotify. And yeah, like God's so good, God's so faithful, and I'm just so thankful for all of you. I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye.